brand new dragonriders that Rhaenyra has introduced are proving to be a difficult pill for Jacaerys, Harry Collett, to swallow at Dragonstone. Jacaerys is immediately turned off by Ulf the White's Tom Bennett bad manners. The man has even gotten his feet up on the painted table of all places. In contrast, Hugh the Hammer, played by Kieran Bew, makes an effort to make apologies for the actions of his fellow countrymen. He does this by pointing out that Ulf is unable to behave appropriately in the presence of nobles because he has never performed any courtroom duties. On the other hand, Ulf is the one who is echoing many of Jace's darkest worries by pointing out that they are both dragonriders now and that they are cut from the same cloth. Despite the fact that each of these men now own their own dragons, there is no love lost between Jace and any of these men. This is because of the conversation that took place between Jace and his mother the previous week, as well as the prince's ongoing anxieties regarding the possibility that any of these new members of their cause could one day challenge for the throne. When Baela, played by Bethany Antonia, discovers him sulking later, she gives him a tough pep talk that appears to be effective. Get up and take your place by your mother's side. Over the course of supper that evening, Rhaenyra divulges her strategy for assaulting her dragonriders, which is a talk that could not have come at a more opportune time. Within the next 2 days, they will be required to ride in order to subdue the cities and armies of Oldtown and Lannisport. This will require them to undergo a crash school in learning Valyrian commands and outfitting themselves with armor. Meanwhile, at Harrenhal, Sir Alfred Broome, who is a member of the Little Council and is Rhaenyra's emissary, has finally arrived to follow Daemon. Jamie Kenner plays the role of Broome. The king's consort appears to be less than pleased with the fact that he is being followed around by a babysitter. But once the two men are in private in the Godswood, Sir Alfred offers to switch his allegiance to Daemon and instead support his claim to the crown. Although it is true that the Daemon that existed just a few weeks ago would have eagerly picked up another bannerman, the Daemon that now regards Sir Alfred feels confident in calling him out as a turncloak. He rejects the notion that he should serve as the monarch that Westeros requires. Their chat is not ignored by Harrenhal's castellan, Sir Simon Strong, Simon Russell Beale, who swiftly dispatches a raven to Rhaenyra, expressing his fears about manipulation and treason. Rhaenyra is the recipient of this raven. Regardless of the contents of the letter, Rhaenyra immediately mounts Syrax and flies to Harrenhal with Adam, Clinton Liberty, and Seasmoke in order to find out, once and for all, what Daemon's true intentions are. This is because the contents of the letter are so concerning. However, before Rhaenyra arrives at Harrenhal, Daemon experiences his most significant vision of all time. This vision is shown to him as a result of his journey to the Godswood in the middle of the night with Brynden Rivers, played by Gail Rankin. When he touches the heart tree, which is already dripping with a red sap that has a terrifying resemblance to blood, he is sent into a waking dream of the future that completely alters his viewpoint on the events that are taking place. Not only do we, alongside Daemon, witness glimpses of what the Dance of the Dragons may culminate in, but we see other significant figures, including Brynden Rivers / Lord Bloodraven, aka the Three-Eyed Raven, the Night King beyond the wall, and last, but certainly not least, a young Daenerys Targaryen surrounded by her 3 newly hatched dragons from the Season 1 finale of Game of Thrones. This event not only provides Daemon with fresh insights into the circumstances surrounding his earlier disagreements with Rhaenyra on the Song of Ice and Fire prophecy, but it also appears to have a positive impact on him. Elise makes the observation that when he first arrived to Harrenhal, he was a closed fist who wished to bend the world to his will. The fact that Daemon is prepared to expose himself to these glimpses of the past, the present, and the future has provided him with an even more profound understanding of the future than Rhaenyra could claim. As a result, he is finally able to see his wife sitting on the Iron Throne, rather than Viserys or himself. Therefore, when Rhaenyra arrives in Harrenhal, Sir Simon Strong is there to greet her and immediately ushers the Queen in to meet Daemon. This prompts Caraxes, who was doing his best to wake up from his nap, to become irritable. When the two wives finally meet one another for the first time since Daemon left Dragonstone, the atmosphere is strained, to say the least. This tension does not ease even when they return to their previous routine of communicating with each other in High Valyrian. However, Daemon is adamant that he is aware of what is actually going to take place, which is the winter that will follow the conflict itself, as well as the individuals who will be called upon to lead them. Therefore, in front of all the men he has won over to their side, Daemon makes a commitment of loyalty to Rhaenyra by bending his knee to her. This is a move that is possibly the most hot thing he has done in this book to this point. He says, "I am meant to serve you and all of these with me until death or the end of our story." This increase in forces is a positive sign for Rhaenyra's potential to reclaim her throne. Nevertheless, it also causes the Queen to feel a great deal of weight when she contemplates in private what must take place after she and Viserys, Sonoya Mizuno, return to Dragonstone. Even in the event that she is victorious and brings peace back to the realm, who will ultimately be the one to pay the final price? One more surprise awaits us in the shape of an unexpected parallel to Episode 3. The burning mill, in which Rhaenyra surreptitiously entered King's Landing in order to meet with Alicent. This unexpected parallel is revealed in the conclusion, which delivers us one more surprise. Alicent makes a request for a late-night appointment with Rhaenyra, and the two women finally encounter each other for the first time since the day before in the Great September. Now, we have an idea of the destination that the Dowager Queen was hoping to reach. Alicent admits that a significant number of her activities over the years were performed in opposition to Rhaenyra, whom she disliked for having the liberties that she herself did not have. This conversation goes on for a long time and covers a lot of ground. During the short time that she spent camping in the Kingswood, she gained a fresh understanding of the things that she desires to live and the things that she does not desire to rule. However, Alicent has not arrived in Dragonstone with the intention of seeking forgiveness for any wrongs that may have been committed. Rather, she is providing Rhaenyra with the opportunity to conquer King's Landing once Aemond has flown off to fight and the city has been left unguarded. Rhaenyra, however, makes the point that it is impossible for it to be a bloodless conquest. In order to stake her claim, she would have to kill the resistance, which may include Aegon, and she will have to do so in public. Alicent makes her decision with a trembling nod, knowing that she will have to hand up her son to death, which is a necessary sacrifice for peace. However, by the time the story is over, both women are on the point of tears, and even Rhaenyra's steely determination is beginning to break. It was the case in the previous episode, which was Episode 3, and it is true here in the final. Darcy and Cook are still each other's finest scene partners, in a moment that speaks volumes despite the fact that none of their characters utters a single word. During the time that Alicent is announcing her own plan to escape with Helaena and Jacaerys, Rhaenyra brings up the possibility that history will not remember her favorably. She will be referred to as a villain, a cold queen, grasping for power and then defeated. Following this, Alicent is no longer concerned with what other people think of her because she is finally making a decision for herself. However, she makes one final request of her own, which is similar to the one that Aemond made earlier in the episode, and she invites Rhaenyra to accompany her. When the Black Queen refuses, she admits that her role in all of this was set for her a long time ago. She then bids Alicent to depart, and it feels a lot like these two women, who once had a profound love for each other, are going their own ways for good. We monitor the progression of each of the key players on the board as Rhaenyra's dragonriders begin to prepare for battle. Tyland, Loha, and the Triarchy are making their way forward from Essos, while Criston, Gwaine, and Prince Daeron on his Dragon Tessarion, along with their troops, continue their journey to Harrenhal. Rhaenyra, who has been stumbling around the Vale for the majority of the episode, finally comes face to face with a wild dragon that she could very well tame for herself. Meanwhile, those who are loyal to Rhaenyra and their armies are also on the move. Corlys and Alan of Hull, who is played by Abubakar Salim, are getting ready to sail toward the blockade. Additionally, the conclusion reveals that Otter Hightower, played by Rhys Ifans, whom Alicent had been looking for throughout the most of the season, is actually incarcerated. However, the identity of the individual who is holding him captive is still unknown at this time. As the montage's score reaches its crescendo, Alicent and Rhaenyra each spare a glimpse at the rising sun. This gives the impression that it is more of a foreboding omen of what is to come, with everyone beginning the march toward annihilation.